guys, I'm Vitale, and on this episode of Laura in the Kitchen, I'm going to show you how to make eggs Benedict. They're a fantastic recipe you can make for your mother on Mother's Day. You know, nice breakfast in bed. Let me take you over the ingredients so we can get started. You're going to need some Canadian bacon, English muffins, eggs, unsalted butter, melted, egg yolks, a little bit of white distilled wine vinegar, lemon, cayenne pepper, and a little bit of salt. That's it. It's very simple and easy to do. It's simple, but you're going to need to know how to do this properly in order for it to come out okay, because you're going to have to make a hollandaise sauce, which can be a complete disaster, and you need to poach the eggs, which, as we all know, that can be a hassle just on itself. So what I have here are two pots. I have the saucepan here with about 1 inch of water, and that's over low heat, and it's just simmering. And then I have another skillet here that's got high sides, and it's filled halfway up with water, and I'm bringing that to a slow boil, a gentle boil, and that's for poaching the eggs. But first, we're going to work on the hollandaise sauce. So in a small bowl, and make sure that your bowl, whatever bowl you're using, is going to be able to fit perfectly on top of your saucepan. So in here, I'm going to put in my egg yolks and a squeeze of lemon. And I'm just going to whisk this together until the egg yolks become nice and pale in color. That looks good. So now I'm going to put this bowl over my simmering water, and I'm just going to stir that, and slowly, while constantly whisking, you're going to stream in your melted butter. You want to do this a little bit at a time. What you're basically doing is emulsifying this. And if you were to do the cold version of this in a food processor or a blender, you'd make mayonnaise. Or mayonnaise, mayo, however you say it. So just slowly stream in your butter and wait till you've incorporated what you put in before you add in any more. Okay. Now that you have all your butter in there, you're going to continue to whisk this and cook it for a few minutes, or until it thickens and it forms a figure eight motion. It forms a figure eight motion, which I'll show you what that looks like once it's there. But I'm just going to sit here or stand here and whisk away. This is the consistency you're looking for. If you use your whisk or if you use a spoon, it should be able to kind of fall back on itself like a ribbon. And if you're using the right whisk, you can make a figure eight. You see that? That's a consistency of perfect hollandaise sauce. If it's too thick, take some of your hot simmering water that you were cooking this on top of, and just put a teaspoon in there at a time until it gets to the right consistency. But that's about right for me. All I'm going to do is season this with some salt. Definitely needs it. And a sprinkle of cayenne pepper. This is totally optional, but I prefer it this way. Give this a nice stir. Okay, and I'm going to just set this aside for a few minutes until I finish the rest of my recipe. Now, a quick tip. Keep some of this warm water in a little tiny cup, in a little bowl, because as this sits, it will get a little bit more set, and it won't be as liquidy, so you won't be able to spoon it very easily. So by adding in a little bit of the warm water right before you're about to serve it, you get that perfect runny consistency. So what I'm going to do now is move my skillet closer to me so that you can see better, and I'm going to get another skillet to get that ready for my Canadian bacon. Now my water is up to a slow boil, and I've also you want to crack your eggs individually into a small bowl. You don't want to crack them directly in here because it won't work. Now to my boiling water, I'm going to add in a little bit of distilled white vinegar, and that's an extremely important ingredient when you're poaching eggs. I mean, it just is. So then what I do is I take my spoon here and I just make a whirlpool effect. Just turn it all in one direction, and then you just drop in your egg. And what that does, as you can see, it makes the egg white wrap around itself. That's how easy it is. I'm going to do the rest of them and let them cook for 3 minutes. To my large skillet here, I'm just going to rub some butter all over it. You can also just put a pat of butter in there and let that melt. Whoops. And now to that, I'm going to add in my English muffins cut side down, and I'm going to let those get nice and toasty. I took my English muffins out of the pan, and I just added my Canadian bacon, and I'm letting it cook for a few minutes, well, really only about 10 to 15 seconds on each side, or until it develops a little bit of color. And then I'm going to take this out, take out the poached eggs, and we're going to put the whole thing together. Taking my poached eggs out, And I take them out with a slatted spoon and I put them on a paper towel lined plate. Just absorb any of the extra liquid. Got my sauce ready. I'm going to thin it out just a tiny bit with my warm water. That's great. So this is how you plate one. You take one piece of your English muffin, a piece of your Canadian bacon, which is really ham. I don't know why it's even called that. You take one of your poached eggs. I do like to season my poached egg with a little bit of salt. And then you take your hollandaise, which is the best part, and you kind of just drizzle it all over the top. And if you want your eggs cooked longer, if you don't like them too runny, then cook them for longer. If you want them cooked even less, then cook them for 2.5 minutes. You know, it's up to you. And I do want to show you what one looks like. And you kind of put the whole thing together. That is the perfect Eggs Benedict. Yum. If your egg's not runny, well, you don't really have Eggs Benedict because it's really important that your eggs are somewhat runny still. That's awesome. Really, really good. But I know that it's a little intimidating, so there are lots of other recipes on laurainthekitchen.com that are a little bit more simple than this if this isn't too intimidating for you, but I do hope that you give this a try because really, it's not that difficult. You just have to put everything together at the right time. That's it. To get this recipe and others, go to www.laurainthekitchen.com and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.